really tough. Clark actually came about when I was shooting the very first Vacation. My director was Harold Ramis, one of the greats. He's not with us anymore, I'm sorry to say, but let me see if I have I do. Much better. We were doing the first scene in the very first Vacation, and we were pulling out of the garage with the suitcases coming off the roof of the station wagon, the what do you call it? What was that called? Yeah, family truck. And just before we shot that with any lines, I said, hey, Harold, how do you want me to play this? Broad. And I think I know what broad is, so I just went right over the top and stayed with it. And it's actually an eye-opener for me because I thought, there are people like this somewhere in the world. Yeah, that's where it all began.
And you improvised a lot of the scenes. There's so many scenes that were not on script.
Well, of course, but I mean that's what I do. I mean, look, I'm thinking about how much I improvise. Look, take a movie like Fletch. It's totally improv.
Great movie.
You shut up. Anyway, all right, here we go. You have to grab onto it when they're on.
Yeah. So the house, the Griswold house.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the Griswold house. Was that a movie set or was that a rented production?
No, it actually, the Griswold house was actually the same house on the water lot there, 80 degrees, doing snow, as Lethal Weapon, the same actual house. And I remember when I was scouting, which house, what locations, etc., that in front of that house on the lawn was a toilet. And I had to figure it out, that's where Danny Glover had the toilet blown out from under him or whatever, in Lethal Weapon. And it was the same toilet. Of course, nobody had bothered to move it for, I don't know, centuries. Anyway, so I decided on that house, and I was doing those lights, the lights aren't twinkling. I had to slide down the roof, I remember, and I grab onto turn around and grab onto the gutter. And then a few things happened there, but I fell. I landed right on the toilet. It was behind the bushes there. Nobody ever saw it, except me. And there it was. I was in there, and then she comes out and, Clark, yes, honey. I'm sitting on the job, Anyway, that's sort of the story of that house. The other story of that house is really what took place in the attic. And I loved that scene. We had no choice but to shoot it because we were in Breckenridge, Colorado. All snow, as you can see by the sliding. So, and we couldn't get out of there. We had like a sudden 4-foot storm. And so we looked up in there, in the attic up there, and well, let's use this, which we did. And that's where I had the wonderful idea of, I've always wanted to step on a board, have it hit me in the back of the head, move forward a little, and have the one in front of me hit me in the front of the head. Of course, I'm the only one who found it funny, but still, that's the kind of guy I am.
So So you and Beverly had so much chemistry. I love that they had her play Helen. It was almost as if like I believed it. Like you guys are married. You guys were amazing in every National Lampoon's Vacation.
Is that a question?
No, well, I'm almost there. What was it like working with Beverly?
Oh. Beverly's wonderful. We've known each other a long time. She's very funny. She likes to show her breasts on occasion. She's just happy about them. I don't know what it is, but not a big deal. And she's very funny and a very intelligent woman. So, it's just a great pairing, really. I mean, I chose it, obviously. I wouldn't just say, bring anybody in here, She's my wife. Clark's wife.
A lot of the audience members want to know, will there ever be a Christmas Vacation 2?
A lot of them? Well, you think it's a good idea? Whoa! I'm just going to have to make the boy and girl the same age again. I've been doing from one to the next. Let's just keep them around 13, 14. Everything will be fine. Otherwise, they'd be 35. Say, Russ? Yeah. Anyway, yeah. So, I'm sorry.
No, so there was actually one other question. Is it true that there was a bomb threat ever happening to you?
This is actually the last question. Is that what you're saying?
No,
I got it. That's true. When I was shooting Saturday Night Live, I lived in New York City, in an apartment at 161 East 61st Street, right next to David Bowie at the time. And I would walk from there to work, which is, of course, Rockefeller Center, down Fifth Avenue, and walk back at night. And I walked back. It was pretty damn late at night when I got there. It was about like 1 or 2 in the morning, and there, parked in front of my door, basically, was a nondescript case of some kind with no writing on it. It was just the exact wrong time in New York at that point because there had been bomb scares, etc. So I asked our door guy to call the bomb squad, to call the cops. And they got there, and this is how the best of the New York cops react from the bomb squad. Let's say the bomb's here, right? So they come in like this, the head guy. I don't know what he thought happened. It was damn funny to see that. Like, oh yeah, a couple of feet back, you're fine. That was my bomb story.
So Cousin Eddie, I mean, he's so iconic in all of the vacation films. I got a lot of questions about Cousin Eddie. What was one of your favorite scenes working with Cousin Eddie?
All of them. I love him. We had a great time. He's disturbed, but that's just Randy, what can you say? What can I tell you? He's actually a brilliant actor. He did a great job. I miss him. I'm going to miss him if we do another one because I don't think anybody's going to want to have him around after what he did to Rupert Murdoch. But in any case, he's great. Yeah.
So what would be your favorite vacation film?
Vacation in Homestead, Nebraska. What do you mean? I've done 4. Is that good
Yes,
enough?
out of the 4, you've loved all of them?
Oh yeah, I do.
They're all so unique in their own way, right?
Yeah, I would think so, yeah.
Well, one of my favorite questions in all of these was, did the squirrel have a name?
The squirrel?
Yes, that was a real question in here. Did
Oh,
you
really?
guys? Yes.
No.
I've had a lot of other interesting ones as well.
I think
but-
his name is Squirrel! No, but that was a real squirrel. And it was pretty funny when he got onto my back, and we figured that one out pretty fast. It came back down the stairs. But yeah, I mean, you know, when I'm looking in there, I can sort of see something looking back out at me. Then it's just all hell breaks loose. Yeah, attacked.
Yes. So Fletch, I've heard, was one of your favorite films to make. It's actually one of my favorite films to watch. I love Fletch and I love Fletch Lives.
Good.
Yes.
Thank you.
And now, well, Fletch, that was one of the characters you feel like you can relate to more, correct?
In what sense?
Just the acting was organic and...
Oh, right. Yeah,
Yes.
so I think I mentioned that. Yeah, that I kind of winged it, you know, and, improvised a lot, and I like to improvise in all of my movies, but that one wasn't particularly improvised. Had a great time. I mean, you know, I had a director named Michael Ritchie, who's a great director, and yeah, Michael. Anyway. He would say to me, okay, Jeff, I want you to do as little memorizing of anything. We're just going to use the lights, the length of whatever it is you're working, therefore the blocking, and from there on, I'll give you a sense of what the scene is. So here you end up with a scene like when I'm getting back to my apartment. How often do you hear strangers in my pants? That's just to me, it just comes out of that. Strangers in my pants. Well, that's what you get when you ask for Chevy Chase. It's all pretty much funny stuff that Dad used to do when I was young.
A lot of the audience members would love to see another Fletch, maybe a Fletch 3 in the future. Would that ever be an idea?
I don't know, I thought Fletch Lives ate it. I didn't think it was good.
No, I love
No,
that one.
I didn't. Thank you, but I'm just saying that, you know, at that point, they knew Fletch made money, and why not try another one, and just throw a lot of costumes on the guy, so that I was, you know, being 5 or 6 characters, and I just didn't think it was worth a hell of a lot. There wasn't enough story there, but the third one would be a real slap in the face. I'm sorry. Yeah, I don't know. My answer to that is I'd love to do another one anytime.
So did you ever do your own stunts? I mean, you fell off a ladder in Christmas Vacation. Gosh, there's this endless of things that have
Did
happened.
I
You fell
ever
in a
do them?
toilet, as you
What do you
told
think
us.
I do? Yeah, of course I did my own stunts. Most of the time. I'm trying to think of when I didn't. I'm thinking now of the Three Amigos.
One of my favorite films as well.
Two of my best friends, Steve and Marty. And I'm thinking of a scene where I had written in Invisible Swordsman and Singing Bush. Because we had Randy Newman doing the music anyway, and one of the writers on the movie. And so, what the hell, we just gave him the Singing Bush, and just be the Singing Bush. And he didn't, it was unbelievable. He just went, I'm a servant, hey, my Lord, just on and on. He never stopped. It hadn't occurred to me that the Singing Bush, you know, might not take a break. No chance. So, we're the Singing Bush, and both Steve and Marty were there with these quote Singing Bush and Invisible Swordsman quote, and way in the background, if you ever see this movie, you gotta look for it. I'm sitting on my horse with Marty's and Steve's horse, so I'm just sort of holding them, waiting for whatever is happening, and you can see in the background that I finally, you know, get off my horse. and completely around and land on the horse next to me, but backwards. And you can just see me landing and going. It's those moments that make me very happy. Little things that I can see you're struck by it.
I was like, wow. Very cool. Not bad. So Chevy, you worked with so many actors, so many actors who are your dear friends, like Dan Aykroyd is one, John Candy is one. Do you have any special, like, memorable moments with them? Ones that you can talk about? Not like that.
I don't know. Did I tell you before that I had one?
With Dan Aykroyd.
Let's see, what was that? Oh God, I don't remember what I did mention something to you, but I don't remember what it was. Huh?
Nothing But Trouble was one. He was the director and an actor in that one.
Oh my God, Dan. He never knew what he was doing. He didn't know if he thinks he wrote it, and then he thinks maybe I'll direct it. It's just Dan. And so he did a great job. I mean, it's not a movie that I think is one of my greats, but on the other hand, we had to work with Demi Moore, which was big trouble. And it's funny because Dan and I, we'd discuss the acting and this and that and the writing and all this stuff in pre-production, and then it came down to casting, and we both agreed that at the time, one of the best-looking women was Demi Moore, and why can't we have the best-looking woman in our movie? And she was a fucking nightmare.
I love the honesty.
It's not fair of me to do that to her. Anyway, yeah. I mean, you know, some women can be suggestive and various things. What?
What a lot of people don't know is that you were...
Do you know her?
Now they do. Well, a lot of people don't know that you were discovered in line to see the Mighty Python for SNL. And then you were writing for SNL and etc. What were your fondest moments on SNL?
There was only one. Well, you know, I kind of invented SNL with Lorne Michaels, the producer and writer. When I met Lorne, he was casting for writers at the Chateau Marmont. You know where it is. Anyway, it's a hotel, and I went up there, and I got there somewhere in like 1 or 2, and I was there the rest of the day with having others come up and audition, writers and actors, and we just got on like that. And what was the question?
Fondest moments of SNL.
So I've got to say that finding a way to announce that we're SNL, we didn't really have a lot of choices because we wanted it to be Saturday Night Live, but there was another show on the air called Saturday Night Live with Howard Cosell. I swear to God. And on that show, by the way, he had a group of funny people like Bill Murray and Brian Murray and Christopher Guest. Very funny group, but we never saw enough of them, really. All good friends of mine. I forgot what I was...
Well, with SNL, you've had so many fond memories, yes.
Oh, God. All right, every one of them was fun. I mean, the thing that I really loved was that I got the chance to do a lot of stunt falls and to open the shows with stunt falls and to just generally make a mess. And then also, Weekend Update. It was something that I invented.
In all of
You
the-
know, I was,
Oh, no,
you go
go
ahead. I was, yeah, I was a very political-oriented comic. I liked to write that way, and I liked, you know, whatever. And I decided to play simply a news guy, and you know, imitate a news guy, but say different things than you might normally hear on the news or see. And that's all.
Well, also back to Christmas Vacation. So